When people hear the name Cristiano Ronaldo, they think of perfection, discipline, control. A player who built his entire legacy on hard work, focus, and an unbreakable mindset. But recently, something happened that shocked fans around the world. Something that showed a side of Ronaldo we don't usually see. A side filled with frustration, intensity, and raw emotion. It all started on a night that didn't go according to plan. The match was supposed to be routine. A performance where Ronaldo would once again prove why he's still one of the best in the world. But instead, everything felt off. Passes weren't connecting. Chances were being wasted. The energy on the pitch was low. And for a player like Ronaldo, that's unacceptable. From the very beginning of the game, you could see it on his face. The small reactions, the hand gestures, the moments where he looked around, clearly frustrated with what was happening. This wasn't the calm, composed Ronaldo people are used to seeing. This was someone who was slowly losing patience. Every touch of the ball carried a different kind of energy, like he was trying to force something to happen, trying to change the direction of the game on his own. His body language said everything: sharp turns, quick glances at teammates, and that familiar look of disbelief whenever a chance slipped away. As the match went on, that frustration kept building. Every missed opportunity added more pressure. Every mistake from teammates made things worse. Passes that didn't reach him, chances that weren't created, and moments where the team simply looked disconnected. It all started to pile up. You could see him trying to lead, shouting instructions, pointing where he wanted the ball, demanding more intensity. But at the same time, there was a growing sense that things just weren't clicking. It wasn't just about one moment or one mistake, it was the overall rhythm of the game that seemed off. There were flashes where it looked like he might turn it around. A quick run, a sharp movement inside the box, a sudden burst of speed that reminded everyone why he's still one of the most dangerous players on the pitch. But even in those moments, something felt missing. The final pass wasn't there. The timing was slightly off. And for a player like Ronaldo, who thrives on precision and perfection, those small details can be the difference between dominance and frustration. The cameras didn't miss any of it. Every reaction, every expression, every moment of tension was captured. At one point, he stood still for a second, hands on his hips, just staring ahead as if trying to process everything happening around him. It wasn't anger, it was something deeper. A mix of disappointment, urgency, and that relentless desire to win that has defined his entire career. You could tell he wasn't just thinking about the game in front of him. He was thinking about expectations, standards, and the level he demands from himself and those around him. As the clock kept ticking, the pressure only grew stronger. The crowd's energy started to shift, and you could feel the tension building inside the stadium. Every touch from Ronaldo was watched closely, every movement analyzed in real time. Fans were hoping for that one moment, that one spark of brilliance that could change everything. But as time ran out, that moment never came. And by the time the final whistle blew, it was clear that something was about to happen. There was no dramatic reaction on the pitch, no outburst, no visible confrontation. But sometimes silence says more than anything else. The way he stood there for a brief second, almost frozen before turning away, it told its own story. Cameras caught Ronaldo walking off the pitch, and the energy around him was different. No acknowledgement of the crowd, no interaction, just a focused, intense walk straight toward the tunnel. Fans noticed immediately. Social media started reacting. People were asking the same question: what's going on with Ronaldo? But for those who have followed his journey closely, this wasn't entirely surprising. This is the same player who built his career on obsession, on pushing limits, on refusing to accept anything less than the best. Moments like this aren't just about one bad game. They're about standards not being met. They're about a mindset that refuses to settle even after achieving everything the sport has to offer. Inside that tunnel, away from the cameras, you can only imagine what was going through his mind. For most players, a frustrating match is something you move on from. But for Ronaldo, it's something that fuels him. It becomes motivation, a reason to train harder, to demand more, to come back stronger. That intensity, that refusal to accept mediocrity, is exactly what made him who he is today. And that's why moments like these matter. Not because of the frustration itself, but because of what comes after. History has shown that whenever Ronaldo reaches this point, when the frustration is visible, when the pressure builds, that's usually when the response is the strongest. The comeback, the statement performance. The reminder to the world that even on his toughest days, he's still capable of greatness. So while fans continue to speculate, while social media debates what went wrong, one thing remains certain. This story isn't over. In fact, moments like this are often just the beginning of something bigger. But what happened next is what really got people talking. According to reports and insider discussions, the real moment happened inside the dressing room, away from the cameras, away from the fans. That's where Ronaldo reportedly expressed his frustration openly, and not in a calm, quiet way, but in a direct, intense, and emotional manner. He wasn't just pointing out mistakes. He was demanding more effort, more focus, more responsibility. For Ronaldo, wearing the same shirt means something. It means giving everything on the pitch. And when that standard isn't met, he doesn't stay silent. Some players were reportedly surprised by how intense the situation became. Not because Ronaldo was angry, but because of how strongly he reacted. But if you followed his career closely, this isn't new at all. This is the same mentality that made him who he is today. From his early days, Ronaldo has always been obsessed with improvement. At a young age, he left his home, faced criticism, dealt with pressure, and turned all of it into motivation. That mindset never changed. Even after winning trophies, breaking records, and becoming one of the greatest players of all time, his standards stayed the same. And that's the key point most people miss. What looks like anger is actually obsession. Ronaldo doesn't just play to participate. He plays to dominate. He plays to win. And when things don't go that way, he feels it more than anyone else on the pitch. That emotional reaction, it's not a weakness. It's a reflection of how much he still cares. But at the same time, this situation raises an important question. Is this kind of intensity good for the team? Or does it create pressure? That's the question everyone starts asking after moments like this. Because when a player shows that level of emotion, that level of demand, it doesn't just stay with him, it spreads across the entire team. Some players feel motivated by it. Others can feel overwhelmed. And in a high-pressure environment, that difference can change everything. Some critics believe that moments like this can divide a team, that too much pressure from a superstar can make other players uncomfortable, especially those who are still developing or trying to find their place. When one player demands perfection every single moment, it can feel like there's no room for mistakes. And in football, mistakes are part of the game. A misplaced pass, a mischance, these things happen. But when you're playing next to someone like Ronaldo, those small errors suddenly feel bigger. He reacts to them. He shows it. And not every player is used to that kind of intensity, but others see it completely differently. They believe this is exactly what a team needs. A leader who refuses to accept average performances. Someone who sets the bar so high that everyone around him is forced to rise. Because without that pressure, without that demand, it's easy for standards to drop. It's easy for players to become comfortable. And comfort is the enemy of greatness. Because let's be honest, playing alongside Ronaldo comes with expectations. You're not just playing a game. You're part of a system where winning is everything. Where every training session matters. Where every detail is taken seriously. From the way you prepare before a match to the way you recover after it, nothing is ignored. And if you're not matching that level of commitment, it shows. And Ronaldo himself is still living by that standard. Even now, at this stage of his career, when most players slow down or retire, he's still pushing himself every single day. Training harder, recovering faster, staying disciplined in ways that most people can't even imagine. His diet, his sleep, his workouts, everything is controlled with one goal in mind: to stay at the top for as long as possible. That level of dedication isn't normal. It's rare. And it's exactly why he's still competing at the highest level. That dressing room moment wasn't just an outburst. It wasn't just frustration from a bad game. It was a message. A clear, direct message to everyone in that room. A reminder that standards cannot drop. That effort cannot be questioned. That wearing the same jersey as him means something. And if those standards aren't being met, he's not going to stay silent about it. It was also a reflection of his mindset. Because for Ronaldo, losing isn't just about the scoreboard. It's about performance. It's about whether the team gave everything. Whether they matched the intensity required to win. And if the answer is no, then reactions like this are inevitable. Not because he wants to create tension, but because he wants to eliminate weakness. And that's what leaders do. They don't always make things comfortable. They don't always say what people want to hear. Sometimes they challenge you. Sometimes they push you to a point where you have to respond. And in those moments, you find out what a team is really made of. So now the question isn't whether Ronaldo was right or wrong. The real question is, what happens next? Does the team come together, understanding the message behind his reaction? Do they raise their level, match his intensity, and turn this moment into motivation? Or does it create distance, pressure that some players struggle to handle? Moments like this can go both ways. They can either break a team or build one. It all depends on how the players respond. Because pressure, when handled correctly, can turn into power, can push individuals to improve, to focus, to give more than they thought they could. But if it's misunderstood, it can create doubt. One thing is certain: Cristiano Ronaldo hasn't changed. He's still obsessed, still driven, still chasing perfection like he did at the very beginning of his career. Time hasn't softened that mentality, it's only sharpened it. And that's why even now he refuses to accept anything less than excellence. And maybe that's exactly why he's still at the top.